When women are cheated on, society has taught them to fight for their family. So they tend to be more willing to work through the infidelity and rebuild the relationship. The man is out, already looking for a replacement.
Welcome back to the podcast. I started this podcast as a way to help Black men in all aspects of our lives. Studies show on average we lose 2.8 years of our life when we're under heavy stress. And I think we can gain those 2.8 years back if we express ourselves healthily. Stick with me as I interview therapists, doctors, advocates, activists, and friends about how we can be better as Black men and as a Black community. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram and TikTok, you'll definitely want to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. All right, y'all. We are here with Mac. Mac, you are a therapist, but you ready though, Wolf? All right, y'all. We are here with Mac. Mac, you are a therapist, but I don't want to limit you to just that. I want you to introduce yourself, tell the people what you do, what you're about.
Well, thank you for having me. It is a pleasure. I am a big fan, and it's an honor to be on your platform.
Thank you so much.
I am Mac Stanley. I'm a licensed mental health counselor with a specialization in couples therapy. I'm a GOTMED level 3 trained couples therapist, and I am the owner of Therapies for Everyone, which is a private practice that works with couples, Black men and Black women of New York City.
So you got a lot. You got safe
My
to say.
hair. My hair.
Safe to say you out here doing the work.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
trying.
no, because
I'm succeeding.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna talk my shit here. I'm succeeding.
Yes. Because we just did your pod.
Yes, sir.
We were talking. I said I'm trying, and you corrected me. So I love I love the accountability, bro. The synergy's there, bro. But like I told you before we even started the episode, anytime I have a therapist on a platform, I always want to pick their brain, right? And I know you just said you work with Black couples, you work with Black men. Let's start with the relationships because I know that's what people care about the most. We always care about how we get into relationships. What are you seeing with the Black couples that you're working with? What are some of the common issues that you feel like Black couples are running into?
Well, that's very simple because I do think that the issues that all couples face transcends
regardless of
ethnicity.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But
That's
my
fair.
specialty relies in infidelity recovery. So I would say 70% of the couples I work with were doing infidelity recovery, right?
Ooh.
Someone has cheated or both partners have cheated on each other and now they're working on rebuilding that relationship.
Oh, yeah.
I get busy, man.
We're going to have a great episode. We are about to have a great episode.
Go.
So take me through that process, bro, because I've been cheated on.
Ooh.
Right? So I've been in a relationship where I was cheated on in the past. And as soon as I got cheated on,
You left.
oh, yeah, without a doubt. But whenever I hear...
Wait, pause. He said without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
And that's actually expected.
So take me through, what do you do with a couple that's coming in and they're dealing with infidelity? Like I'm so intrigued right now.
Yeah. So just to go back to your point of being cheated on, that's actually a traumatic experience. And you're going to experience up to 5 years of PTSD symptoms, right? But what's also very interesting and gender specific is that men that get cheated on, they tend to leave the relationship because they are taught to replace their injuries, not work through it. While when women are cheated on, society has taught them to fight for their family. So they tend to be more willing to work through the infidelity and rebuild the relationship. The man is out, already looking for a replacement. So now,
hold on. No. You ain't about to drop all those bombs and then get into. I need you to hold your thought because we're getting deep.
I mean,
we're getting deep and we
what
not
I
even.
do.
And I love it, bro. I had to process the men are taught to replace our injuries part.
Correct.
Because I said without a doubt, you kind of smiled and you were like, okay, makes sense.
That's evidence. That's proof that this is actually true.
And you know,
right?
I don't want to cut you off.
Go ahead.
You know what happened after I got out the relationship?
What'd you do?
I don't talk about too much.
Uh-huh.
I got under somebody else.
Replace your injury. So the best way to heal yourself is to now go seek that validation and that need to be desired via someone else because your partner did not give that to you.
Right.
They actually betrayed that trust.
And you know what's so wild about that whole situation? I was telling myself, like, nah, bro, you're not doing this because you're hurt. You're doing this because, you just want to spend some time with somebody. You like this person, and you feel comfortable with them. So that's the reason why you do it. And I justified it, even though I fake knew that what I was doing wasn't helping me.
Your defense mechanism kicked in and allowed you to rationalize what you were doing. So to you, it could be digestible and feel okay, even though deep down you know that's not the way. So us men, right? In general, when we experience a breakup or something that shatter our identity that we thought that we were or that we had, instead of taking the time to sit through these emotions, we try to outrun it. We try to outfuck it, right? Outsex it, outlove it, outparty it, without realizing that later on you're still gonna have to sit down and experience all of that. And now the actions that you've done is actually going to add more to it that you have to process.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So you're going to process that heartbreak that you caused that young lady because truthfully, you never wanted to be with her. You were just using her at that current place and time.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, and I feel terrible about that to this day.
May you please apologize to her though? She deserved better.
You know what's wild, bro? In your podcast, can you tell the people what you said in your? Do you remember? Do you know where I'm going with this?
I asked you, what is one person that you need to apologize to due to your ego leading the way?
I'm not gonna say the person's name.
Correct.
But they know who they are. I don't think they listen to the podcast, but
they do.
Just maybe.
Yeah,
maybe they do.
They do.
So you know who you are. I apologize. I definitely let my ego get in the way of our friendship, and I definitely used you to a degree. Even though we did have an understanding, but I also knew based off the conversations that we were having that it wasn't really all the way clear where we were going with it. And so just off the strength of that, I have to apologize because I feel like I didn't handle that situation properly at all.
Yes, and you also need to give yourself some compassion too, because that was a traumatic response. Right? She was a traumatic response because you had just suffered a traumatic experience. So I did not expect you to make the right choice after that.
Right.
A lot of times most times we don't. Right? Because that trauma is there and it's triggering us and we're finding ways to respond to it. And at those times, we tend not to make the best choice.
Bro.
That doesn't define who you are. This was just a moment. That's $200, man. I don't work for free.
Listen, no. More than deserving. More than deserving. David, you back on? You ain't got to tell me. I'll give it to you. Golly.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't even know how many minutes in we are, and I already got a whole revelation, bro.
You also made another point that I don't think you realize.
Nah,
right?
Go ahead. Please get to it.
A man's first impression of a woman tends to always be that. And more than likely will never change, right? So you've always knew you were never going to end up in a relationship with her. You never saw a relationship with her. There was nothing that she could have done for you to view her differently. But for women, it's actually the opposite. A woman will see a man and not be attracted to that man, not see a future with them, but the men can become successful in changing their mind, right? Because eventually the woman will look past the physical attributes, right? How good of a person is, he's a nice guy, and etc. So they can, to some degree, they can be influenced. Who they like can always be influenced and can always be changed. But when a man tells you, I see you in this capacity, that tends to never change. And that tends to remain constant, right? So I'm saying this to all men, to all women. Pay very close attention to how you are viewed and to what category or box that you're placed in. Because when it's being done by men, you can't outlove them out of that box.
Right.
You can't outsex them out of that box. That box is for you. The same way a man could be with a woman for 5 years, 10 years, not want to marry them, but In a year or two, you see them marrying someone else, right? I've known so many men that's always said, hey, I'm not ready for a relationship. But 2 months later, they meet somebody else and they're all exclusive all over Instagram. They didn't want a relationship with you because they
Right.
never saw you as their partner in a relationship.
No, you're absolutely right.
I ask people, did he lie to you, or did you lie to yourself about who he said he was? Accountability is what we're working on today. Did he lie to you, or did you lie to yourself about who he said he was?
You said I'm gonna do a sidebar, right? Because before we got to the podcast episode, I remember we were talking, I was just confirming every guest or anytime I'm featured on a podcast, I always confirm beforehand, yo, we doing a podcast today, right? And I hit Mac up. I said, yo, Mac, we doing a podcast today, right? Like, we doing yours, we doing mine. He was like, yeah, I just got my cut. We're recording classics today.
Top tier.
Obviously. We obviously are. We obviously are, brother. Because you came and you are delivering, bro. I wanted to ask you, because we kind of got off track, but I love it. I love the conversation that we're having. Take me back, because infidelity, you work with couples that are trying to recover from that. How does that process normally look when they get in?
Yeah. So I'm a Gottman level 3 trained therapist, soon to be the first Black male Gottman certified therapist on the East Coast.
Okay.
So part of my training is learning how to help couples through infidelity. So Gottman is very research based, which is why I am a big fan. It's less about perspectives, more about the science. So whenever you hear me talk, I always have data, right? I'm always citing something because I like the research. I'm a nerd. I like to read. I like to do research and etc. So through the Gottman approach, there is a process to helping couples through infidelity. Attune, attach. Atone is where we try to decipher what is the emotional need that was missing in the relationship that led to the partner seeking it elsewhere. We're all humans. We all have needs. If I'm consistently attempting to have you meet my needs, my need in this relationship, but it's not being met, it's at some point in time, eventually, I'm going to start to look elsewhere for that to be met, right? So it's about going through that process. And also it's a time for whoever that's been cheated on to be able to ask all of the questions that they need answers to. Who was he or she? When did it happen? When did you guys meet? When did you guys have the time? So when you said you went over there, that's what you were doing, and etc. However, I do have veto power among certain questions that are not applicable. Was it better?
That's not applicable?
No.
Oh, hell no. I can't do it.
Because that leads to more trauma.
Was it better? I need to know now.
Yes. That leads to more trauma, and that doesn't move the conversation forward.
I get what you're saying.
So one, whoever was the cheater must take accountability, must end that relationship completely, right? And then whoever was cheated on must now take accountability and understanding of what led to the infidelity. And that's the part that you can't do outside of therapy, is that accountability piece. So if I were to ask you, when you were cheated on, what role did you play?
What role did I play in getting cheated on?
How did you fail to show up for her?
I didn't allow her to be her. I wanted her to be somebody else. And she clearly wasn't that person.
She was never seen by you. So she went elsewhere where someone saw her. So by seeing her, therefore, the attachment starts to happen. Right, we're spending more time together. We're talking more. I feel more comfortable around you. Now they're even talking about you or how bad the relationship is. He's giving advice and etc. And eventually, closeness happens. Feelings get involved, and the natural next step is to get physical.
Oh my God!
Many of us are heard, but we're not seen. Many of us are seen, we're not heard. To have a healthy relationship, you must be heard, seen, and validated. So that's phase one. Phase two is when I take a look at the relationship, right? The reason why you were not seeing her, right? Was it a breakdown in communication skills? Was there a lack of friendship? Was there too much conflict? Right. So I think of it as a blood test.
Mm-hmm.
I, I, I draw your blood, I run it through my machines and make those tests and gives me all of your results. I do the same thing for relationships. I run you through an assessment that tells me anything and everything that I need to know about your relationship. Whether or not we had a previous conversation, that assessment gives me everything I need to know. Are you thinking of leaving? Has there been cheating? Is there domestic violence? What's our communication skills? What's our friendship? What's our intimacy? Is it satisfying? How's the quality? How's the frequency? So I have all of that, and I can start helping you improve all facets of your relationship.
One thing I heard you say, is it satisfying? So you get to know
Correct.
if it's satisfying.
Yes.
But I don't.
No.
With the cheater.
So there's two types of results to the assessment. There's a part where you share with the couple, but there's a more detailed one that I have access to, where I can see whether or not a partner rates the intimacy as satisfying or not.
Right. That's important data, though.
Yeah,
it's important data for you to have. I understand.
Correct.
I was joking.
Is the frequency high enough? How's the romance and passion? Right. So I help you work through all of that so you can create a new version of your relationship, which leads to attunement. We're so attuned to each other's needs that I know how you're feeling before you even say it. I can tell when my wife will get her cycle a week prior before she gets it.
Why is that?
Because I'm so attuned to her emotions. I know how she's acting. I know how she's smelling. I know how she's behaving. So I can detect that.
No, that's true.
I can be away from her and know how she's feeling, because we're that attuned to each other's needs, right? So to me, professionally speaking, I think stronger relationships comes out of infidelity, because it forces couples to have the uncomfortable but needed conversations.
Jesus, that is a hot take.
I'll never be out of a job.
That is no. Of course.
Have you realized that yet?
Oh no. Of course not. Of course not. Without a doubt. I know. Yeah, that is a hot take. All right, I'm interrupting this podcast episode to let you guys know to leave a review on the podcast. Please, 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 if you are listening to this episode and you're finding value in this episode, you're enjoying the conversation, or you've enjoyed a previous episode or conversation, and it's safe to operate your phone right now, please leave us a review. Your review is a free and easy way to support us, and it helps us reach more people like you. We're on a mission to build a stronger, more connected Black community, starting with Black men. And you can help us on that mission by taking a minute out of your day to leave a review. Your review helps us generate more listeners, which in turn generates more revenue, allowing us to expand the platform even further. So please take a few seconds out of your day. I know you're busy. I understand. I know you're doing a lot, but it will help us greatly if you would just take a few seconds out of your day to leave a review right now. Did you leave a review yet? All right, let's get back to the episode. Let me ask you, what's the hardest part for couples that you see when it comes to recovering from infidelity? Because I know you talked about attunement, you talked about a couple of other things as well. Like, which part of that do you find becomes very difficult for them as they're working through the process?
I would say, especially with the males, we tend to downplay how long it's going to take for a female partner to feel secure after infidelity.
So after we've cheated,
correct,
we downplay how long it's going to take for her to feel.
It's been 3 months. Like, get over it. Like, we shouldn't still be fighting about this. I've already apologized. But no, they're going to be feeling like that for up to 5 years.
Right.
You did the crime. You got to do the time. Right. So part of atonement is setting the necessary boundaries so I can learn to retrust you again.
Okay.
Right. So if you were to remain with the partner that cheated on you, part of the work we would do is me asking you, what boundaries do you need to put in place around the relationship so you can learn to trust her again? A lot of times that sounds like, I want access to your phone, to your computer, to your email. I want you to share your location. I've had couples that say,
you allow that in a relationship?
It's not me that allows it. That's what you need so you can trust her again.
But you know what's interesting about that, though? I've heard that you shouldn't do those type of things in a relationship because it kind of feeds into insecurities. So what do you think about that?
That's inaccurate,
Okay.
right? It could lead to insecurities not properly communicated.
Okay.
Hey, you've cheated on me and I no longer trust you.
Mm,
I want to work on this relationship and I would like to reestablish trust.
mm,
In order to do so, I need complete access to your information. Because at times I'm gonna be triggered to the point where I wanna see whether or not you're being faithful to me. And
mm.
I need that proof.
So you don't feel
And I
like
need that access.
okay. So
Right.
now go ahead, continue. I asked my question
So
after you.
eventually, at first, you have couples that are checking daily, but eventually, by them consistently seeing, okay, I have proof and data to show me that I can start to trust you again. Right
Mm,
now, there's complete honesty.
mm,
There's no room for dishonesty.
mm,
Right.
mm.
So it's unfair to the men that our partner just address their insecurities themselves when you're the cause of it. If you're oppressing me and telling me I just need to work through my oppression, then that's not fair. That will never happen. Right?
Mm.
So it's about you telling your partner what is it that you need. It looks different for every couple.
Right.
I've had other couples that say you need to leave your job because the person you cheated on me with works at that job and I'm not comfortable with you having access to them at work. Whenever you go to work from that 9 to 5, I'm ripping my hair out because that's all I can think of. Now, can you tell that person, well, you just have to deal with it?
Yo, it gets complex.
Can you?
No, you can't though. Yeah, you can't because
So, what price are you willing to pay to re earn that trust?
damn. Damn.
If they really matter to you and this relationship is really important to you, it's an easy decision
Oh
to
yeah,
make.
absolutely. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, true. What happened in that situation?
They left the job.
Damn. Can you imagine? Can you damn people leaving jobs? Like that's a real consequence due to cheating.
Yeah.
Like imagine that.
You break the trust. You break the foundation. You and it's even you break up the identity of that individual.
Mm-hmm.
Because who I thought I was in this relationship is clearly not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And women tend to take the blunt of infidelity a lot more. Because now you're affecting the view that they have of themselves, but the view that society also have of themselves. Because in most cases, women are not given the compassion or the space needed. They
Right.
actually thought like, what did you not do? Were you having enough sex with him?
Right.
Not realizing, no, like this was traumatic for me.
Right.
And women are taught to get over it or this just happens. It's
Right.
normal.
So let me ask you this, right? So I know you talked about boundaries that couples or like the person that's been cheated on has to set. How long? You know what I'm saying? Because I can think of myself, if I put myself in the shoes of a man that's cheated, right? Obviously, you talked about a lot of men are they struggle with the aftermath of it and they want it to, they want their partner to get over it relatively quickly. I think 3 months is kind of quick. But then there's some situations where it's like we've been doing the boundaries things for like 2-3 years. I know you said 5 years.
You could
PTSD.
experience the symptoms. Like you'll be
It's
triggered
yeah.
up until 5 years.
So what do you like? I know every relationship is different. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, do they continue those boundaries even after? Like, is there a certain number of years where they were like, you know what, we probably should wean off of this a little bit, or is it more so like couple base?
That is a great question, and there's not a definite answer.
Mhm.
But I'd like to point out that as there's more proof
Mhm.
that I can trust you,
Mhm.
my desire and
Mhm.
my need to have access
Mhm.
starts to lower itself.
Mm.
However, there will be time periods where I might be triggered and still fail to go back and triple check,
Mhm.
but that's normal human experience,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
But eventually, I can start to trust you again because you've proven to me that I can trust you.
Mhm.
And there will be time, yes, I'm gonna go and check your phone. because your phone rang and you answered it in the driveway as opposed to inside the house. Now all of those memories are coming back to me and now I'm triggered again.
Right.
So I'm gonna just go through the phone like real quick to see
And make sure.
if you're doing anything else.
Mm. Mm.
It's only about 10 to 20% of infidelity or affairs that last multiple years. Affairs tend to be very quickly, tend
Like how long?
to have a short-term basis. I think about 40 to 60% of affairs last a day or a month, like it's just a one quick experience, right? So it's very rarely that it lasts over years.
I have so many questions.
Talk to me, man.
One of the questions that I have is, what would you say to a man? Because now I'm starting to question myself about, not that, first of all, first, let me say this. Let me just caveat. Let me just disclaimer with this. I'm very fully happy in my relationship. I love Naima to death, okay? But I'm starting to question the way that I handled the being cheated on, like what I did after and all that kind of stuff. And also the advice that I give men in this situation. Because I don't tell men to leave, but I tell men what I've done. Right. So what would you say to a black man that's been cheated on? Like what kind of advice would you give him? Let's say I came in to you today and I had just got cheated on yesterday, just heard the news yesterday. What would you say to me?
I never give advice.
You don't give advice, okay.
No, but I would ask you this question.
What would you ask me?
What was your role? I need you to self-reflect.
Right. You did ask me that. Yeah,
I need you to self-reflect.
Okay.
Right. It's easy to blame your partner for everything.
Right.
But what role did you play in your partner's behaviors? What influence did you have? What responsibility did you partake in? Right? So once you can start to identify that, then you can start understanding better why that took place.
Do you feel like you work, okay, so I know you said you work towards couples like recovering. So your success metric, for lack of better words, is a couple getting back into good standing with each other after infidelity. Do you feel like a couple not getting back into good standing is a failure in that situation, or is it more so like it's just based off of what the couple feels like is best for them?
There has been a number of couples that is very clear that they weren't committed to making the relationship work. And a lot of times, part of the work is helping them realize that and actually be able to see, this is what I'm willing to put in and this is what you're willing to put in. It's not an even match, or it's not even close to a match. So now I'm going to choose to walk away because I'm tired of over investing and you're under investing, because that leads to more trauma. Telling me after 3 months I should just be over it is not okay. Every time I'm triggered, you're gaslighting me. That's not okay. Not willing to make certain compromises that make you uncomfortable in order for me to soothe my triggers, my trauma responses, and my mental health is not okay. There's only so much one person can do,
right,
until they start to feel taken for granted.
Right.
So a lot of men, right, we have the mindset that women are replaceable, especially when we don't have a lot invested in terms of marriage and things like that, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When you can easily have a clean exit without no repercussions or liabilities or responsibilities, then that tends to be the course.
Yo, you know what's so wild?
Talk to me.
You know what's so wild? I tell people, I said this in the last podcast. I said it in a podcast episode previously where I was like, yeah, it was easy for me to leave because we ain't got no kids, you know, I wasn't married or anything like that. So for me, it was easy for me to leave. But then I also caveated with saying like, but I understand why other people would stay when they have those type of, connections to that person. It's harder for you to then leave a relationship when infidelity is involved, when you guys may have two
Correct.
kids involved, when you may be married, we may have a house together.
So my question to you would be, how do you prevent the next person from cheating on you again?
I can't.
If you've never did the work and taken that accountability and identify your role in the infidelity, then it's more than likely to be repeated again. So you can't outrun, outfuck, outsex, outparty your trauma or your responsibility. At some point, you got to sit down and deal with it and address it. So when a lot of people say, you know what, I don't trust men or I don't trust women, they're actually lying. It's not that you don't trust men or women. You don't trust yourself when making decisions about men or women.
Yep.
Because the last time you made a decision about a person, it led to your unhappiness or you being hurt.
Right.
So you no longer trust yourself because you don't have a resume to show that you make the right decisions when it comes to a potential partner.
Yo, you know what's so, oh man, further speaking, that's facts. One of the things that's so interesting, I'm thinking back to when Naeem and I were first talking, and that was kind of like a few months after I got cheated on, and I knew I needed some time, but I knew I also liked Naeem, right? And we would have conversations, and I know Naima. Like I've known, even at that point, I had known her for years. Like we weren't having conversations that often, but I had known her enough to know her character. But me being cheated on made me look at her as if she would be using me still, right? And so there were certain things that I would do that I was comfortable with doing in the past that I would not be comfortable doing, like spending money on a date, because I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Because part of what happened after I got cheated on, that was just one part of it. But another part of it was she wasn't forthcoming in it because she knew that I was getting a new job, and that new job came with a pay increase. And she felt like the entirety of our relationship, I was kind of paycheck to paycheck, and she wanted to benefit from the fact that I was getting a new job. And so
That's what you're telling yourself.
All right.
Did she say that herself?
She didn't say that herself. She didn't.
Y'all caught that?
Nah, we caught it.
Okay.
I'm catching it right now. But she didn't say it herself. But her actions led me to believe that. Her actions led me to believe that. But I know you have other thoughts.
No, what I think the point that I'm trying to highlight is just because someone engaged in infidelity doesn't mean they want out of the relationship. It's very rare, especially with men, that they tend to leave their primary relationship for the person that they're cheating with.
Right.
For women, it's more common because they tend to be more attached, right? So it might be she still loved you, she still wanted to be with you, and this was just a mistake based on what was happening in the relationship. Just something to think about.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna ponder on that.
Can I ask you a question?
No,
though,
go ahead,
right?
go ahead.
So when you got with your girl, by the way, that video went viral.
Which one?
Which one?
No, seriously, I don't.
Quick flex.
No, I wasn't. Oh my
Quick flex.
God.
Let's go.
Oh
Quick flex. Quick flex.
Oh my God. You're funny.
So
You're funny.
when you got with her, can you talk about the ways that you would triple check to ensure that you could trust her? Many times you went through her phone.
No, I didn't go through her phone. I'm gonna be honest with you, because before we started like really making things serious, I was already doing the work. I was in therapy, and a lot of the things that you're bringing up with me, I was talking to my therapist about.
Gotcha.
So a lot of the things that like you've asked me, like you've asked me a question that my therapist never asked me, and it helped me to kind of bring some things out that I didn't have, that I didn't talk to her about. But I also realized like part of why I was in that relationship in the first place, the relationship where I got cheated on, was because I felt like I needed to be in a relationship. And so that's where we started like really then doing the work. But some of the things, like I told you, I didn't feel comfortable spending money on her. You know what I'm saying? Like I did not feel comfortable spending money on her. I didn't feel comfortable going all the way out of my way to try and make sure that she was taken care of. And I did want her to show more interest than I would have needed if I didn't get cheated on.
You were guarded.
Yeah, I was way more guarded than I've ever been. And it got to the point where it's like she had to have a conversation with me. She was like, "Yo, I'm not your ex." You know what I'm saying? I remember that conversation vividly. And it got me and it brought it to my conscious mind, where I was realizing like, yo, this is a lot of the things that I've been doing have been to get you to earn, my trust. And I'm treating you as if you're the one that cheated on me when you didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I really had to then do that work and understand like I'm with a whole completely different person. I also haven't fully processed the trauma and the cheating, right? And I need to then do that work. And I also have to understand that this person that I'm with is new, and we're doing something completely different. So if I can't make peace with that and come to terms with that, then I'm gonna end up losing this relationship that could end up being very, very healthy for me and beneficial. And this is actually what has happened, right? It's been healthy, very beneficial. because I'm not able to like let go of the trauma. I'm not able to let go of that trauma.
Yeah. So letting first thing first, I
Mm.
just want to applaud you,
Mhm.
right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of men would not do that work.
Mhm.
And realizing that they could lose someone that has such great value and needing to go back and doing that work so they can be who they need to be for that person.
Mhm.
So I want to applaud you for that.
I appreciate that.
I don't think that relationships can ever start with a clean slate
Mm.
because we always bring baggages.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of times, like with a lot of men, I have to remind them, hey, they the women that you're dating or you're about to marry have had past relationships prior to you. So
Mhm.
even though your intentions are merited and you mean well, doesn't mean that they can view it through that lens based on their past experiences, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of time it's very beneficial to label what's happening. Hey, babe,
Mhm.
I want to be with you,
Mhm.
and I know that you're the woman for me,
Mhm.
but it's very difficult for me to trust you right now
Mhm.
because in the past I've been cheated on and I've been taken advantage of, specifically financially,
Mhm.
and going out of my way for someone that did me so bad.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'm fighting myself to show up for you, to be present for you, because I tend to feel very guarded,
Mhm.
and it's gonna take me some time.
And no, continue your thought. Go
Right.
ahead. Mhm.
And I just need some compassion, some
Mhm.
understanding. If you see that it's becoming too much, or if I'm doing it, let me know because I want to work through that because I want to be with you.
Mhm.
But I also understand that I have a journey that I'm going through and it's not easy. I just need a little bit more help and understanding from you. Could you do that for me? The power of
Brother.
effective communication skills.
Brother.
And for us men being able to identify exactly how are we feeling and labeling that, giving that language.
Brother, you are speaking.
We potting?
No, we're not potting. We're saving lives right now. We're changing lives. It's not even potting anymore, bro. This is a whole different experience right now. What I wanted to ask you, what I wanted to reveal that I think will be helpful for some people that may have had this experience is one thing that made me feel more comfortable with Naima was she would reciprocate. So if I did something small, she would do something a little bit bigger. So like I would do something where it's like maybe I'll pay for something. Then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later or whenever, like there's not a timeline on it, she would buy me groceries randomly.
Oh wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yo, go check the front door. There's some groceries there for you. I know you like Twix. I know you like cinnamon toast. You know what I'm saying? There's some things there. I know you said you weren't able to get to the store, and I wanted to alleviate that stress for you. Bro, now that I'm seeing this, I'm like, how can I not trust you
Right.
when you're reciprocating the energy? If you had ill intent, you wouldn't reciprocate. And it goes back to the conversation we had on your pod where I was talking about irrational thoughts versus the rational thoughts. When the irrational thought is this person has ill intent, but then I'm seeing in clear day that there's no way that can be the case because they're doing all of these things. Now I have on the other side of that list, I have that data that I can refer back to that makes me realize like, okay, there's no need for me not to trust this person. And if I don't trust them, then that's work that I need to do and not necessarily more work on them.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes. They were matching your investment. Their attention to detail, their ability to know what your needs are and anticipate it in ways that you weren't even thinking of yourself.
Yeah.
It's them showing up for you the way that you needed them to show up versus the way that was comfortable for them.
Right.
That was the difference.
Yo, bro.
We out here.
We know.
We're doing the work.
Yeah. Bro, listen, man. I know we talked a lot about couples. We talked a lot about infidelity. I also wanted to get into black men, bro. What are you seeing with black men?
I am seeing a rise of black men seeking therapy. However, I don't think people understand that there's only 4% of therapists that are black and only 1% of black males, right? So a lot of times I'm seeing the demand increases, but I wonder if there's enough black male therapists to actually meet those demands.
I doubt it.
Right? Hence why we need to, as black male therapists, we need more collaboration, we need more mentorship, we need different ways to provide healing outside of one-on-one therapy, right? Which is why someone like you and the platform that you're creating is so helpful, is so needed.
Right.
We just need more of that.
Right.
But I'm very happy with the representation of therapy and healing on podcasts and on all platforms. I went from wearing a suit everywhere to now
You just
dressing like this, right? Because I want these men to feel seen and recognized and identified within myself.
Yeah.
Right? But
You make a good point. One thing that I try to show up as is myself, authentic, right? I don't want people to see me as someone that has it all figured out, that dresses a certain way, that behaves a certain way, because that's not true to who I am, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we're having a conversation right now. I'm telling you right now in real time, I'm having revelations. I'm learning things, right? I'm dressed in pants and Yeezys and a shirt, you know what I'm saying? Like
talk you to it.
nah, for real, right? And the reason why I won't come up here and try and put on a show or put on a front is because that's not helpful for the average black man that's looking at this and trying to learn more, right? He can't identify with that, right? And so it's hard for him to then see himself in me, which then makes it hard for him to be able to break that barrier that a lot of us end up having, so that he can be able to do that work. So I applaud you for that, because we need to see more black male therapists that look like this.
I agree.
If I see a black male therapist in a suit, I don't want to work with you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I've always said I'm the therapist that I would have wanted when I was a young man. Right. My style is very different. Like this is how I am in couples therapy. We're laughing, we're joking. I got jokes all day. Right. We're chilling, we're listening to music, but we're doing the work.
Right.
You feel very comfortable. Like dudes are texting me, yo, Mac, can we have a drink once we're done with therapy? Like, yo, can you come on the family vacation? It's our wedding. We want you present. Right. Like I'm formulating these relationships to the point that I'm getting people from other people. Like I don't have Mac, I know you don't have room, but they really need you and you're the one for them. Right. So to me, I've always said I wanted to be the therapist that I would have wanted.
Right.
Because I would never want to work with somebody that's so uptight,
Bro,
wearing a suit all the time, that's
God,
very
bro.
serious.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, if you're looking for professionalism, it's not me. If you're looking to do the work and have fun doing it, I'm your guy.
Let me rephrase that, right? Because you are professional.
Correct.
But you're professional in a different way, right? Not in the way that we've been taught is professional, right?
Yes.
Just because somebody wears a suit and speaks proper, doesn't mean that they're professional, right?
Correct.
Like, doesn't mean that they're helpful.
Point.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
Yeah. So I definitely want to say that, because I feel like a lot of us have these standards that haven't really been set by us. They've been set by, you know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Wife is calling.
You're good. You're good.
Just
You're
mute this.
You're good.
My fault. Big Booty Cheeks. That's how she's saved on my phone. If anybody's asking,
who is
that is my wife.
Listen,
Big Booty Cheeks.
Listen, man,
she got some big booty cheeks.
It's all good. It's all good. So I was just saying, like, yeah, like you don't have to subscribe to the standard that has been set out there. Like, you can be who you want to be as a therapist, and most of the times I find that that's actually better, especially when it comes to Black people and Black culture. Like, my therapist is a Black woman. I don't want her showing up as anything other than herself, because that helps me, right? When I see you, how you actually are, how you dress, how you look, it helps me. It helps to break down the barrier that I may have when it comes to talking to a Black therapist and a Black woman about my problems. Like, I always tell people, like, my therapist is from my area. She literally lives and grew up like around the area that I grew up in, right? Like, went to the same high school as me. Yeah. We found all of this out in the first session. I'm like, yo, once I realized all of that, I was like, yo, why haven't I been in therapy? Like, why did I not start therapy sooner when I could had a therapist that I could really relate to, that has come from the same place that I've come from, and I don't have to sit here and like repeat myself multiple times. I don't have to try and explain slang and all these different things. Like, I could just sit here and have a conversation with you and you get it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the best way to have therapy. Like, we laugh during our therapy sessions. Like, we joke around, but like you said, we doing the work.
Multiculturally equipped therapist.
Facts.
And you're also speaking on identity, right? I think a lot of times our schools tell us what a therapist is supposed to look like, what a therapist is supposed to do. But as you start doing this work, you develop your own artistry to it, right? I'm an artist, but my instrument of choice is therapy, right? So we can have the same knowledge, we can read the same book, but the way that I apply it will look vastly different from you, because we're two different artists, right?
Yeah.
So I've kind of mastered my artistry when it comes to therapy.
Right.
That the way that I conduct it is special to me,
Right.
right?
One thing that you mentioned too that I want to get into a little bit is you talked about us having to find creative ways to service all the Black men, right? And that's part of what we do in Safe Haven. Not only do we connect, Black men with Black therapists, healers that are in the space, but we have some of those healers come into the platform and then they host like a group session, a psychoeducational group where they'll basically talk about a specific topic, right? Where it'll either be emotional intelligence, masculinity, relationships, a variety of different topics where we can have Black men that come in, right? And get to not only listen to a professional in the field, but also ask their questions and then also get that support and feedback from other Black men. So like, what do you feel, how do you feel about like group environments, group settings? Do you feel like that's helpful? And do you feel like that is the lane or the route that we should start taking with servicing people in the Black community?
I think that's a brilliant question. On my podcast, my Menage a Mind, I specifically highlight the therapists because I know there's a high demand, and we need to find those that are good at what they do, so we continue to refer out. But also in reality, like when it comes to mental health and when it comes to Black mental health, we need to attack all avenues,
Right.
right?
Right.
So having a community base, having groups, having podcasts on it, having conversations, just having the term therapy all around
Right.
removes the stigma. And a lot of times people are doing things that's an introduction,
Right.
and that's needed and that's valuable because that's less work for me, right? And eventually we can outsource them to wherever they need to go to,
Right.
right?
Right.
Therapy, a lot of things can be therapeutic,
Right.
right, before you get to therapy.
Right.
All right. So bringing in experts to just deliver a message or to run a workshop and make all of those things are actually needed or should be celebrated and prioritized.
Right.
And I feel like a lot more clinicians need to make the time
To do that.
to go back out to those communities and actually showcase their skill sets, but also share the information for the collective healing.
Right. And for anybody that's listening, I say this all the time. If you're interested in the groups, if you're interested in us helping you to find a therapist, helping you to get connected with a support network of Black men, please, please, please register for the wait list for Safe Haven. You can just go on the website. That's www.expressyourselfblackman.com/safe-haven-waitlist. Put in your first name, your email, and your phone number. And then we'll contact you once enrollment opens back up so that we could be able to connect you with those resources. Because we need it, man. Like we definitely need it. I know you and I were talking about some stuff. We're gonna keep that off.
Soon.
We
Classic.
Listen, we definitely got some things that I think will be very, very, very powerful for the culture. So we definitely gonna chop it up and see what we
And
can
it's
do.
also very important for all of us to just start collaborating, man. Putting our minds together, putting our platforms, our skills, our knowledge together to create something that's greater than us.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about helping the next Black man, the next Black woman, the next Black couple.
Right. Nah, man.
There's no room for ego.
No, true. There's no room for ego. We just talking
no room for ego. Unregulated ego.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. I like the distinction. So I know you are a father of two.
Yes, 2 under 3. It's very ghetto. Highly do not recommend.
Highly not recommend. My question to you, bro, is how do you feel like they've impacted your development?
Oh my God.
As a man.
Jesus Christ. Man, the way that I had to address my patriarchy, my entitlement, my toxic masculinity, the way that I had to look at myself and recognize, oh, I'm actually the oppressor. And now I have daughters that is going to have to navigate that world. I think very early on when I described my daughters, oh my God, they're so beautiful, they're so pretty. I was always highlighting their beauty. Never, hey, they're very intelligent, they're very courageous, they're very strong, right? So now I'm more mindful of that, not to just label them or celebrate them based on their physical attributes, but also based on their intelligence, their
Mm-hmm.
mindsets, their growth.
Do you feel like that's part of the objectifying, like that we grow up in as men? Like we're socialized almost to objectify.
100%, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what was about me doing the work. Like I needed to change my relationship with vaginas, right? As a
What
man,
is that? What is it?
as a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see
Please tell me
I
what
see
that
a
looks like.
vagina. I think of pleasure,
Mm-hmm.
right? I see a woman's vagina. I'm thinking that I'm looking for that to lead to my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have two daughters who's running around the house with no panties on. I'm changing diapers and all of that. So the vagina's directly in my face. And I need to reconstruct my mind to what a vagina means and also what's my relationship to a vagina. Right?
Wow.
So that's a lot of work that we don't talk about.
I did not even think about
there are
that.
men that are uncomfortable changing children because of their sexual organs. Right?
No.
Certain grandfathers say, I'm not changing a child or or little girl because of their relationship and their perception of a vagina. They're uncomfortable with that.
Yo.
Right? So being able to sit back and actually talk that out and label it and address it, that's some different shit.
Yo. Oh my God. So let me ask you this. You got married and then you had kids?
No.
Okay.
We're engaged. We're supposed to be married during the pandemic.
Okay.
That never happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So do you feel like, how do you feel like that has impacted your relationship?
What?
The children.
If you want to test the degree of your relationship, have a child. I'll tell you some stats, right?
Give me. Come on.
67% of couples report a lower relationship satisfaction for the first 3 years of transitioning from being a couple to now parents. And fidelity, domestic violence tends to rise during pregnancy and the first toddler years. Having a child will test every ounce of your relationship. You think infidelity is bad? Have a child. Different ballgame. You're not sleeping. You're not eating. You can't remember the last time you showered. Can't remember the last time you ate. You're overly tired, so everything's annoying you. You feel like you're doing more than your partner. They're sleeping in more, so resentment is growing. You have no support system. You're not going out. The baby's always crying, right? They tell you sleep when the baby sleep, but there's so much to do around the house. You can't function. Then you got to go to work. Then you got all of your responsibilities. You're too tired to have sex. You don't have time to go out. Financially, you're impacted. You want to have fun? You want to test your relationship? Have a child. Actually, do what I did. Have 2 kids in 2 years.
Oh, hell no. Don't they have a name for that? It's like
Irish twins. Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
So I did what I normally do. I went back to the research. I called up the government. Like, hey,
yoga.
I know y'all must have studied this before because there's no way I'm the first person experiencing that. Oh, Mac, we have a whole program for that. Send it over.
You called up Gotti?
Yeah. So me and my wife, we sat up. We did our research. We started to implement things in the relationship again. We started to prioritize the relationship. So
what does that look like?
So when people transition from couples to parents, the kids become the priority. But it needs to be the inverse. Because at the end of the day, you want to provide a 2-parent household for your children.
Right.
In order to do so, you got to prioritize your relationship and your marriage first. The kids are going to be fine. Right? So it's taking the time out to go on dates. So once a week, I'm dropping them off to grandmas. They got 2 grandmas. I'm pulling up. Unannounced. I see the car. They're at your driveway. I'm knocking on the door and I'm walking out.
What's this, Amazon delivery?
I swear to God. Yo, I'm dead serious.
Yo, you Amazon delivering
I'm
your
dropping
kids?
those kids off so me and my wife can have some time by ourselves. We're going out to dinner, right? We're waking up earlier so we can talk and spend time with each other. We're building breaks. We're going back to a 6-second kiss every day. And every time we reunite and every time that we depart, we're doing a 20-minute conversation. So there's this whole 6 hours that you're supposed to complete weekly in your relationship to sustain it. When you have children, you move away from that. So we went back to introducing those things because those are the foundation. So we started to rebuild back the foundation. And that's when things started to change proactively. That's how we got the second one. Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying?
My man built that foundation
Know what
up
I'm
for the
saying?
second child.
I literally brought us to my office. I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a couples therapist. Let's get to it. I did the same assessment I would have done for any other couple. We've identified what we needed to work on and we create a plan. This is what we're going to do. And we held each other accountable to implementing the plan.
You psychoanalyze your relationship.
No, basically.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's when it really, I mean, like, I don't know how that personally feels, but I would like to think that's when you really start realizing, like, damn, all that work that I did was really worth it. It done saved me my relationship.
And that's very egotistical of me. Because I could have went to anybody else.
True.
But I knew my skill set. Right? And I know what we got to do. So let's just get to work.
Okay.
Right?
I like that.
We're tired of arguing. We're tired of not spending time together. We're tired of the lack of intimacy, the lack of support. Right? Women that are mothers tend to experience the invisible load, the things that they're doing that we're not even seeing, thinking about the child, thinking of the groceries, things I don't even pay attention to.
Right.
Plus, I'm running a practice on top of that.
The invisible load is real.
Correct.
I've never heard it worded that way, but now I'm realizing.
It's the invisible load because she's running the household.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times, part of thinking about the household is invisible to me because I'm not seeing you doing it.
Right.
But you're actually thinking of it consistently.
Yeah. And that's probably sometimes even more impactful than the physical things.
Correct. Yeah. And I've also asked her, hey, leave your career so you could be a stay-at-home mom while I take care of us financially and you take care of the whole family. Right. So a lot of us male, right, allow our egos to dictate, hey, I'm the breadwinner and you're just staying at home. Not realizing that being a stay-at-home mom is the hardest job in the goddamn world.
Right.
I wouldn't switch with her, even if she paid me.
Oh, yeah, hell no.
You think I want to deal with 2 kids all day?
Bro, hell no.
Shout out to daycare now.
No,
drop them off every morning and give them a nice kiss.
Listen, I'll say this right now. Most men will not switch with a stay-at-home parent.
I would if they were older.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that when we talk about that's a cheat code. That's cheating.
Older,
you cheating. That's not really
toddlers.
Nah, that's not. No. When we think about stay at home, we don't think about 20-year-old children. We're thinking about the 2-year-old, the terrible twos and the annoyances and all the toys all over the place, and you gotta cook food for these little demons. Like, nah, I'm good.
Here's the cheat code.
What's the cheat code?
When she goes out to brunch or when she goes out with her friends. Grandma's on the way. She pulling up. I'm pulling up, right? I think us men were very resourceful. So a lot of times I can tap into my resources easily. My cousin, hey, you're home? Okay, I'm dropping the kids off for 4 hours. And I'm hanging up and I'm pulling up. You can't say no because I would do the same for you. I've done the same for you, right? I think a lot of times women have difficulties asking for help when it comes to motherhood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't got a problem.
Why do you feel like that? Why do you feel like women have that difficulty? Because I feel like I talked to my girl about this, and it's like when we have conversations about this, it's always like, I know she has this thought process that she's going to do more than me.
She will. It's guaranteed.
Why? Why is that?
It's motherly instincts. And again, that's part of their identity, right? Postpartum is because women feel judged by other women. And it starts at the hospital. The nurses are telling you to breastfeed, even though the child is not latching. They're making you feel like you're a bad mom for that. You go home, and all these visitors are coming in, and they're judging your household. They're judging how you're handling your child, how you're parenting, everything, right? So now you feel inadequate as a mother. So to prevent that, what I did is Before any woman walked into my household, I met you outside. We're going to talk real quick. Here are the rules, here are the boundaries. Any violation, you will be kicked out. Do not make any comment about the cleanliness of my home. We just had a child. Stop it. Don't make no notice of our parenting skills. I'm a therapist. Don't tell me what to do. I know better than you. Not really, but you know.
I get it. I get it.
Number 3, your opinion is your opinion, and there's no room for that. Number 4, do not offer assistance unless asked.
That's a real low key one that people don't peep. That when you offer assistance, what gets communicated is you're not doing enough.
It's a slight. Correct. I have a Haitian mother. Exactly. I have a Haitian mother. I'm her only son. Picture her walking into our household without me having that conversation with her. Everything could go wrong.
Oh my God. I can only imagine.
Exactly, right?
I can only imagine.
The way that I protected my wife, my family, and my child is by having some clear expectations, because her mental health is my priority. Making her feel important, respected, supported, and accepted as the mother and the sole person that gets to decide what's happening when she's in charge, that had to be respected. And I made that very clear. There was no room for error, because I couldn't afford anyone to disrespect her in her household and as a new mother in my presence. A few people got kicked out. Obviously.
Protect this man.
Right? A few people got kicked out.
You kick people out the crib?
Of course, I had to.
What's that look like? Take me through that. Seriously, I really want to know what they're like, because I just, you know what I'm saying?
They didn't follow the rules.
So you're just like, yeah, you gotta leave?
Yeah. People are going to test you, right? Say, hey, this was not okay. We talked about it, so I need you to go. I love you. I appreciate you. You can stop by whenever else you want. Just be mindful of your behaviors and how you show up in this space, because this is a safe space for me, my wife, and my child. No, I just couldn't imagine.
I couldn't imagine having that conversation. So you're having that conversation with your family only?
Her family too.
Whoa. Like, I'm just putting myself in that position and having a conversation with my mother-in-law.
It's my house. It's my wife. It's my child. And listen, it's not about being disrespectful either. It's also explaining to them, hey, I just want to chat about what's acceptable and what's not. We're new parents. You guys have been doing this for a while. And I'm sure you have a lot of opinions and a lot of viewpoints that you would like to share. It's just that at this time, it's not the best thing and it's not needed. We love you guys. We want you around. But we just have to agree to certain things, because we don't want to create a space in which we feel slighted in our roles as new parents.
God.
How could you not respect that?
Oh, people can respect it. They just can't act on it. You get what I'm saying? People can respect it, but then they fall back to their same behaviors.
It happened.
Because when you're in Caribbean, my mom is Trinidadian. Naima's mom is Jamaican. My dad is Ghanaian. Naima's dad is Tanzanian.
Oh, Lord.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
so
Lord.
We grew up in a mix of African and Caribbean culture, and that comes with a lot of opinions and feedback and criticism and all that kind of stuff. So I can imagine having a conversation and it being received well, and then they get into the crib and they're like, oh, no. You need help here. You need to do this. You need to do that. I can just imagine the conversation going well, and then coming into the crib, and they're like, nah. Yeah, I definitely need help.
So look at it from a behavioral standpoint, right? When you want a behavior to continue, you have to reward it. When you want a behavior to end, you got to attach a consequence to it. Show up. You follow the rules. I want that to continue. We're going to send you more photos. We're going to praise you, and etc. I'm very mindful of what I'm doing. You violate that, the consequences, you get to leave. Now, the child that you wanted to hang out with, spend time with, take photos with, and be around us, you no longer have that access because it's been revoked. That's your consequence for your behavior. So next time, you're going to think twice.
So you're parenting the parents.
We've become parents to our parents. My main job is keep my wife and my child safe. I couldn't afford for her to go through postpartum.
No, you're right. That's it gets.
I couldn't afford myself to go through postpartum.
Yeah, men go through it too. We don't
Hell
even
yeah.
talk about that.
Hell yeah.
That's a whole conversation.
Hell yeah. And she was leaving her career.
Yeah.
I still got to work.
Yeah.
Right. Each child I've had, I leveled up. So my first child, I had a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
My wife called me one day on FaceTime. She said, "Oh my gosh, she just said Dada." I was at work, bro. I started crying on the phone, packed up my shit and left.
You was at work.
I was at work. I missed it. Now thinking about it, I want to cry right now.
Bro, I want to cry,
I want to cry right now, son.
Yo.
I missed it because I was at home because I was working.
Nah, bro.
Second child. Took my paternity leave and I had like 4 weeks more of vacation. But I was gone for like 6 months. Hey, Mac, you come back next week and we want you in the office. Office? Me?
Oh, God.
What? We gonna send you emails?
I don't look at those.
Bye-bye.
Bro.
This is when I started my private practice. I was still working. I started 9 to 5. Through the pandemic, I was part-time. Then my Instagram started growing. Mm-hmm. So I putting out content about relationships. Mm-hmm. And I sounded differently from most of those that were talking about relationships. Mm-hmm. So my DMs started to grow. Mm-hmm. More collaboration, more lives. Mm-hmm. Then I started making twice as much I was making at my job. Mm-hmm. Right? To now. Crazy numbers, right? Mm-hmm. So to the point where I looked at my wife, she looked at me, she's like, "You don't need that job anymore."
You don't.
But her saying it and giving me that validation was what I needed. Because I had to give up a lot. We're talking about a guaranteed income.
Yeah. People don't understand that's a big jump, even if you're making the bread.
Guaranteed income.
You know what I'm saying?
No matter what, you're guaranteed this.
Yeah.
Going on vacation and not having to work because you have vacation time. Right. Now, when I take a week off work, I'm not getting paid that week. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now restructuring a business model. As therapists, we're not businessmen.
I always say that. What do I say all the time? Therapists don't know how to market.
Some.
The ones that know, you obviously know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what you're doing. And a lot of therapists don't.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why so many therapists are so triggered by coaches. Coaches do a great job of marketing themselves. Because they have to. And they make big money. Yeah. And therapists feel like, well, I got a license, so I should be able to do this. No. Mm-hmm. Do the work. Show up.
I tell therapists all the time, just because you have a license
and
shit. Because you are providing a service that people need doesn't mean that people see that.
Correct.
That's what marketing is.
Exactly.
On Black Friday, I put out an ad, right? I said, I was talking about black man, you don't need that TV. I said, you don't need that TV. You don't need that new game system.
I hate you.
You know what I'm saying? Right?
And guess what I did on Black Friday?
What you did?
85-inch, baby.
But you see, I knew the psychology of a black man and a consumer, right? And then at the end of that ad, I said, what you do need is, boom, Safe Haven.
I'm doing that this year.
Go ahead. I don't care.
I'm doing that this year.
I give the game out.
Oh my God, I'm saying? That's fire.
But I said that to say, I'm saying all that to say, we don't even think about marketing our services, right? Like the therapists will not think about marketing their service. They'll just say, oh, here's a 50% discount, or we're just doing this and just come and get it. It's therapy. You know what it is. Like
therapists don't give discounts.
What did they give? Oh, sliding scale?
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Through grad school, we're not taught that.
Yeah.
We're taught to be in those boxes. Mm. I was in those boxes until social media, right? I'm talking to other therapists, and they tell me, y'all making $40,000 of a masterclass a month. Mm-hmm. My masterclass is coming soon now, right? I think once we start seeing how to be different and how to show up on social media, like I had people tell me, no, you need a personal page and you need a therapist page. I'm like, for what? That's who I am.
No, you don't.
90% of my clientele directly comes from social media.
Yeah.
90%.
You get like that.
I am on no listing. You can't go on Psychology Today and find me. You can't go on none of those things and find me. Either it's word of mouth or you saw me on social media.
It get like that.
And it's free. Free $99.
Most therapists, I'm going to give some therapists some game right now. if you're a therapist, it don't matter what your platform looks like. If you can speak to the work that you do, podcasts will be interested in having you.
Facts.
You need to reach out to podcasts, get on a podcast, and just start talking about the work you do.
And have a personality.
Have a personality, please, for the life of God. I remember I did a podcast. I still haven't released it to this day. I did a podcast with this therapist. I said, oh, hell no. We talking. I'm trying to get personality out of him.
Nothing.
And you're just giving me just the bland version. I'm like, bro, why would people book you?
Exactly.
Why would I even want to sit in a session with you? I can barely get through a 30-minute podcast episode with you.
Exactly.
So you get what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, and this is part of the marketing and building a brand, building a profitable business. So the game that I would give to therapists is, you want to build a private practice, get on podcasts. Get on podcasts that speak to Black culture, that speak to Black consumers. If you're interested in knowing that list of podcasts, I can give you a list of 10 of them. Just send me a DM. I ain't going to list them all out right now. But send me a DM and we can talk through it, because there's so many dope Black therapists that are stuck in either practicing under somebody else and they're uncomfortable with starting their own private practice. They're uncomfortable with taking a leap because they don't know how to leverage social media. They don't know how to leverage connections. They don't know how to build or leverage the network that they've actually built already. And also leverage what's around them with the podcast, because
they don't know how to perform outside of the therapeutic office.
Exactly. And then also a lot of them are under the notion that talking about therapy outside of therapy is problematic. Giving my personality on social media is problematic. When you just listed that is primarily the reason why you've been so successful.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to grow my social media no more.
Exactly.
I can't keep up with the DMs. I can't keep up with the comments. I can't keep up with the emails. That's a whole job in itself, right? Mm-hmm. So I used to judge myself based on my followers. Mm-hmm. I no longer care for that. Mm-hmm. I'm at 15. I'm good. Mm-hmm. Once I got to 10, I'm like, all right, cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You are good.
I see those that are going for 100K, 200K. That's great. Mm-hmm. I get that. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But what does that really equates to?
Right. What are you bringing in on that? Right. What's the return on investment for that?
I could tell you mine. Mm-hmm. Right. Just at 15K. Mm-hmm. But now I'm at the point where I just want to create more products. Right. Like I want to move away from one-on-one therapy. I actually hired my first therapist because the demand was too high for me. Right. Hey Mac, we need to work with you. Well, I can't because I don't have room, but I have someone that I'm supervising and that's good at what they do and they're learning from me. How about I send you to them? It's either them or you go to someone that I can't speak of or about. Right. So now I'm looking for 2 more therapists because I've never wanted a group practice, but based on the demand that I'm receiving, that's the right thing to do. Right. And I also want to mentor their upcoming therapists.
Absolutely. I know that's something that you talked about a lot, so I know that's a passion of yours. Please tell the people. We've had a dope episode, bro. Tell the people where they can find you, how they can support all of that good stuff, bro.
Yeah, you can find me on my podcast, Menage a Mind. That's Menage, MENAGE, mind. Think of Menage a Trois, but which a mind you're having a threesome, which a mind. You can also find me on Instagram as talk_to_Mac_therapist, talk 2 Mac MAC_therapist. Please make sure that you follow, like the podcast, comment, and subscribe. And also go to Express Yourself Black Man, give him a follow, sign up for Safe Haven, go on these YouTubes. Please like, subscribe, drop comments. We're trying to grow all of these platforms that are catered to Black mental health, and we just need more support and more collaboration.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Mac, I appreciate you.
Brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. This was a dope episode.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Express Yourself Black Man podcast. We really hope you gained some valuable insight on things you could do differently with your healing journey and with the Black man in your life. If you found value in this episode, please leave us a review on whatever platform you listen or watch the podcast on. Your review is a free and easy way to support us, and it helps us reach more people like you. We're on a mission to build a stronger, more connected Black community, starting with Black men. And you can help us on that mission by taking a minute to leave a review. Your review helps us generate more listeners, which in turn generates more revenue, allowing us to expand our platform even further. And speaking of expansion, we're in the middle of that process right now with the Black Man Safe Haven. We're expanding the Safe Haven platform to add more benefits so we can continue to support the demand we've received from this audience. During this time, we've paused enrollment to Safe Haven, but we invite you to sign up for the waitlist. Safe Haven is our holistic healing platform where we take the stress out of the healing journey for Black men. In Safe Haven, we provide you or the Black man you know with access to a Black mental health professional so you can finally heal from the things you find it difficult to talk about, and you will receive support from over 200 Black men that are all on their healing journey so you don't have to heal alone anymore. You'll also get access to weekly meditations led by wellness experts, support group sessions led by Black therapists, a library of over 200 articles geared towards Black men's healing, master classes, and more. You can join the Safe Haven waitlist right now by going to www.expressyourselfblackman.com/safe-haven-waitlist or by clicking the link in the description of this podcast episode. Don't wait. Do not wait. We've had hundreds of signups for Safe Haven already, and we'll be opening enrollment soon. Due to capacity, we may not be able to service everyone, so don't hesitate to sign up now to secure your spot or the spot of a Black man you know as soon as enrollment opens. Thank you again for listening to the Express Yourself Black Man podcast. We'll be back soon with more dope episodes, and until then, take care of yourself first, then the people around you. Love y'all.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. Shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. Know you need to hear it, my brother, I love you.